Hello everyone, this is Gary Marr, and in this screen capture I'm going to talk about how to create, open, edit, look at some of the menu options that are available with Google Docs. I'm going to start from the Gmail screen. I talked a little bit about this in an earlier video. This is typically the way I go to these products, not only Docs but also Sheets and Slides. If I come up here to the corner, I'll see a checkerboard. It's called Google Apps. If I select Google Apps, I will see a list of some of the more common apps available to Google. I use all of these. You may or may not use all of them. It's up to you. Google Drive is the one we're going to spend the most time with. But also what you should see here, and let's see if I can get it to come up okay. Let's see. Okay. There it is. For some reason, there's a time delay. But I'm going to find that there's also other icons below that top set. In fact, if you go to the More option that's at the bottom of this, there's a whole bunch of applications that Google provides for you free of charge. I can go into Google Drive and create a Google Doc, or I can simply just click on this Docs icon and the file will automatically be placed in Google Docs. Now, it's just going to be placed in the root directory of Google Docs. So if I have a special folder I want to put into it, I'll have to go back to Google Drive and drag it from where it's currently located to the folder I want it to put in. But that's a lot like what you would do with Windows File Explorer. Not much difference there. Let me click on the Docs icon, and what it's going to do is it's going to bring out a template. Gallery. Now, these templates represent common documents that you might be creating in the course of personal or business correspondence. This project proposal, for example, is very similar to what I'm going to ask you to do in one of our assessments. There'll be a Google assessment for Docs, one for Sheets, one for Slides, and one which kind of combines a couple of them, like a business plan type setup, similar to this project proposal. For today, I'm just going to stick with blank. So I'm going to click on this. And then what it's going to do is automatically going to a full screen where up here on top I have a place to type the name of my document. Really sophisticated. Let's call it First Doc. And that's the file will be stored. That's the name it'll be used when it's stored in Google Drive. And then if I look across at these menu options, many of these menu options will be very similar to what you're used to seeing with Microsoft Word or any other word processing program. Even though Google Docs is free, it has a lot of powerful features. One of my favorite features, for example, is one called voice typing. And basically what this is speech recognition. If you have built into your laptop or your home PC a microphone, you can basically talk your way through a document, much like we talk to Alexa or Google Home, and it does a very good job in figuring out what you're trying to say. The recognition's at a very high rate. You can see some other things that are fairly common too, things like spelling, word count. You can format your text so that you have bullets, centering, left justify, right justify. You can insert things like images and tables and drawings and charts. Pretty much all you can do from some higher end word processing products out there in the market today. One of the big differences is even though Google Docs is free, it has a lot of power goes with it. Just the voice recognition alone is one of the better ones I've ever used, and I've used voice recognition now for probably 10 years. So let's get started. Both Google Docs and also Google Sheets and Slides are all Wysiwyg Editors, which basically means what you put on the document itself is what they're going to, what the person who's reading is going to see. And Wysiwyg stands for what you see is what you get. So if I do some typing here, let's see. And again, if I make a mistake, I just back up and go over it. I can back up with cursor keys. I can use the mouse to mark things. I can use the mouse to insert, and etc. This is, I think, a famous saying from, I think it's My Fair Lady, but I'm not sure. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. I think she was doing that as part of a vocal lessons with Rex Harrison. It does do spell checking. It does allow you to insert drawings and pictures. Let's do a couple of things here. Let's see. Let me do let's take the ruler away. Okay. Let's format the text to be, let's say all of this text here. Let's format that to be bold. And also let's format it to be italics. Let's see what else can we do from format easily. We can also clear the formatting, or we can add a numbered list to it, and we can pick several different formats there. By hitting Control-Z, like that takes off the formatting in most Windows projects. It does the same thing here. So just like Windows Control-Z means to undo something, it works the same way in Google Docs. Tools, again, I talked about the voice typing. Word count, spelling, these are all kind of built into other products, and if you like to use them, you can. It's got some add-ons. The add-ons are going to have to be reviewed, and we're not going to cover add-ons here. There's a bunch of them for both docs and also sheets and also slides. And then finally, there's help here, and you're going to find there's a whole host of videos, YouTube videos, and documents that people have created. In fact, people and Google have created to help you get through this stuff. It's a very robust product, and it works very nicely with also the Sheets and the Slides product. Up here on the ribbon, I can change my font. I got to actually mark something or type something first. Let's do this. Let's change it to whatever that is. Caveat. Okay, that's kind of fancy. I can change the text size to be 12 now, make it bigger. Well, I'll tell you what, let's make it real big. That way it really shows up. It's real big. Let's see. This is truncating. Those three dots are truncating because I'm fitting this all into a screencast screen that I'm recording this information, so there's a lot more to it. I can put links in there. I can put images in there. I can put a comment. Now, all of the Google products have the ability to add comments. The comments are seen by the person who's editing the document, but not typically seen by the people reading it unless you allow them to edit it, in which case you can leave all kinds of information behind. It also has a history capability, and we'll probably show that in one of the presentations, but I'm probably not going to do it in this one to keep this one in shorter duration. Let's see what we got over here. We've got well, different modes that you can look at here. We're currently in editing mode, but we can also go into view mode. And there is a way, again, this screen's a little bit chopped up because it's showing it smaller so it fits inside my screencast. But it does a real nice job in terms of allowing you to collaborate with other people, where the other folks working on the document can also add their comments, which you can either accept or reject. It also will give you full history and version history of things that you would have done in previous steps in building the document. What Google Docs will allow you to do is keep different versions, and again, let multiple people work on this document. I can open up version history. I can name the current version, and more importantly, I can see previous versions, and this one doesn't have a whole lot of history here because I just added most of this in the last few minutes, but it'll show me the changes, or it'll show me the original document, depending on how I select this. Again, something you would expect to see in a more robust word processor. Just some little visual cues here. This down arrow will hide the menus if it's down. If it's up, the menus are there. And again, because I'm using a smaller screen to fit in for the screen capture, the more gives me more menu options that would be available in that screen ribbon at the top. Over here in the file option, just to go over some of these, I can share this file with other people, and this is the way we collaborate with other folks. I can either put their name or email addresses in there, and if their Google account exists, I can have them either edit, comment, or view this document. Could be someone you're working with, could be you might have one of your employees working on it, and you want to, before they release it, you have final approval on it. Those kinds of features are available with that particular option. I can make a copy of this. So for example, if this happened to be my first one and I kind of like most of it, want to do another one, I can make a copy. I can always download this into several formats. And the assessment that I'm going to ask you to do at the end of this session is going to ask you to take your document and save it to Word. But there's also Open Doc format, which is this is more common in Linux, but it's an open source type of format that's available with some word processing programs. Rich text format's a little bit older in terms of its beginnings. It was one of the first ones we had before Word and WordPerfect. PDF, I think it speaks for himself. You can have just plain text. You can do some stuff with EPUBs if you want also. You can email it as attachment, you can rename it, you can move it, etc. As far as some of these other menu options, let's see. I can go full screen with this. I'm not going to bother with that. Now, that would show me a more clean document, one that doesn't have the menus. Let's see, I could insert, let's see if I can find, let's see. I'm not sure I'm going to find an image, but you can certainly capture an image by camera, by URL, photo, or drive. This is kind of handy if you're creating presentations. Maybe it's a business plan, or maybe it's a sales brochure or literature that you'd like to give out to customers. You can add drawings and pictures if you'd like. Let's see what else we got here. I think most everything else. What I would strongly encourage, and I do this in multiple places, I strongly encourage you to go out there and research and mess with some of these different options here, because they can be very valuable in terms of putting stuff together, but it's the kind of thing that maybe the best approach is just try it, and if it becomes confusing, then simply go out there and open up a YouTube video and see how they do it. Let's do this. Let me throw on a comment here just for, I guess, the heck of it. Well, let me find my comment. Where did my comments go here? Oh, now that's my comment. I use my icon up there. This is part 1. I talked about comments briefly, but when you have a comment open like that, if you've got multiple people, even yourself, if you're leaving a message for someone who you want to edit this document also with you, you can leave a comment off to the side. This does not become part of the text, but does become part of this file that gets passed along or gets collaborated on with other people. Let's do this. I'm going to go back now to Google Docs, and let's see. I guess I'll go back to my email original, go into my drive. I should say go back to Google Drive. And what I should see here, and there it is, first doc on the quick access. And this would be the document that I'm working on now. There it is. And what it does is when you create something new like that, it will put it right in the root directory of your Google Drive. This is green because I made a comment on it, and that would allow me, it just sets it off a little bit differently. I can certainly print this if I'd like, and let's do this. Let's print as a PDF. So that's what it'll look out with it as it's printed out. So that green box that's surrounding that information that I commented would not appear in the actual final document. All right, that's part 1 of Google Drive, and specifically Google Docs. There's an assessment that's also in this module, so please look at that and try to go through all of those steps. I believe I've talked about most of the steps as part of this initial video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Email would be great. Thank you.